I've been reading through the comments. A few people have mentioned that in the previous Hermitcraft episode, I was just in my regular suit and tie. I was regular Mumbo. My hog looks like a regular hog. And that is because that episode, that was released during the week. This is weekday Mumbo. But this episode, well, this episode is releasing on the weekend. And you know what that means? It means the ripped denim vest and extremely short sleeves are back. And most importantly, it means it's time for a ride. I forgot my carrot on a stick. That's like the Minecraft equivalent of forgetting to fill up with fuel. To the shopping district. I guess I'll catch you guys in a few days. This isn't the fastest of hogs. I know I could speed this bad boy along by feeding him more carrots, but the reality is I don't actually have that many carrots. So this is the pace that we're going to be going. Look at his little nose, his little tires. Mog? Since when was he called Mog? Was that me? Did I mistake H for M? Because that's embarrassing, even for someone as stupid as me. I mean, they do look a bit similar. But what's weirder is, if someone else did that, what does Mog even mean? Is that an insult that I'm missing out on? I've experienced a strange prank and I feel uncomfortable. And that's not just because of the saddle sores. I don't know how it's happened, but I appear to have accidentally stolen a horse. There's nothing I can do about this. I know things are a little bit sensitive on the Hermitcraft server right now, with Scar killing one in cold blood. So I just want everybody to know that this is absolutely not my fault. Finally, we have arrived at the diamond button, which, as always, seems to be at full health. The hermits just love pressing buttons pointlessly, don't they? But we're here because I've got a pretty enormous update for you. I'm being eaten by a horse. There's no two ways about it here. I am being devoured by a horse. We're here because the crowns for the diamond button have just been added to the Hermitcraft resource pack, and I gotta say, they are absolutely glorious. This is the golden crown. This is for the lowest level. Then we have the red crown, which is absolutely ridiculous. And then finally, we have the ultimate crown, the gigantic, absolutely ridiculous purple crown. I think we can all agree Familycraft Dad and Apathy Muffin did a fantastic job on these models, and with the addition of these, I think things are about to get a little bit chaotic. Hermits don't really care about diamonds, but they do care about bragging rights. And nothing says bragging rights quite like a crown so big that it barely fits on your head. So I've got a little bit of work to do to add this functionality into the system. And don't worry, I've already removed the TNT before I start fiddling around with the redstone. Even though I only have 2 brain cells, both of them told me that that was a good idea. And after a lot of fiddling, all of the new circuits have been added. I've done a bunch of tests. Everything should be working properly. All of the prizes get dropped out depending on the level of the button. So let's put the TNT back into the system, which always feels absolutely terrifying, especially with the redstone torches everywhere, and wait for this thing to gradually start dying. But just to make it super clear for all of the hermits, I've written out an instruction manual. The diamond button. Thousands of diamonds are in this machine and it's gradually counting down. When the health bar goes to 0, all the diamonds explode. You must save them. Press the button to keep the button alive. Increasing rewards goes to those who save it the best. If you save it in the green, you get nothing as it didn't really need saving. Save it in the gold and you get 3 diamonds and a gold crown, that's good. Save it in the red and you get a diamond block, 3 diamonds and a red crown. And if you save it from death in the purple zone, it gets you a huge purple crown, 4 diamond blocks and 3 diamonds. Crowns are the new status symbol. Flex on your fellow hermits. I hope that makes sense. I hope that sounds good, and I'm preparing for fights to ensue. Gosh, this thing looks so cool with those in their item frames. It's now a few days later, and the button is getting pretty close to the gold zone, and I really want one of these crowns. So I guess I'm just gonna have to stand here, prepare for the most boring time-lapse ever, and it certainly was the most boring time-lapse ever. It made me question my life choices quite a bit, especially because I record my screen, not Minecraft, which means I couldn't actually use my computer while I was waiting. And I didn't think to put a song on or a podcast or anything, so I just sat there in silence. But we got there in the end. Finally! Oh my goodness, that took way longer than I expected. Right, I'm not going to leave this to any chance. I'm hitting the button right now. Because if somebody logs in right here and then steals my crown, I'm going to be incredibly upset. Yes! Yes! I've got a golden crown. I think I might be the first person on the Hermitcraft server that has a crown from the diamond button. And it's... I mean, it's not the best, it's the worst crown. It is the worst crown, but it is a crown, and it's a very good-looking crown. It suits me. Maybe not quite so much in my motorcyclist attire. I think this might be the first time that a golden crown and a motorcycle jacket have been combined in an outfit. I don't know, I don't really keep up with Balenciaga and Gucci's latest drops. Maybe this is the fashion these days. But I, for one, am incredibly happy. Right, next up, I need to get a red crown, and that That is going to be difficult. This thing is not fast. But I guess that's another project for another day. For now, I have got a little bit of storage system construction to do. So let's head back over to the base. Oh dear, this definitely isn't ideal. By the looks of things, my flying machines got stuck somewhere in the middle of the farm. I'm hoping I should just be able to activate them and get them back to the start. Oh, I really hope my minecarts aren't gone. I sincerely hope my minecarts haven't disappeared. This one's actually broken. Like, the piston actually separated from the slime blocks. Right, this definitely means that I have to build up an off switch pretty soon, aka today, because otherwise this is going to keep happening. Also, storage system definitely needs to be built today, because otherwise I might get kicked off the Hermitcraft server for creating a perfectly circular piece of bamboo. I don't know if that's possible, and I don't want to be there if I find out. Right, first things first, we need a whole bunch of chests, and I'm hoping... I mean, that should be enough for now. Now, our storage system is going to be going at the end of this walkway right here. This is going to be our big storage area. I don't want to call it a room because it's not really a room. Now, I'm going to be building what I'm referring to as a modular storage system. So each time we build a new farm, we can add a layer to the storage system to expand our storage. So we're not set with a certain number of chests, because that could be limiting. And at the minute, I'm just trying to work out if I want to have a sorting system in this storage system, or if I want it to be direct to row storage. So for example, the drops from our bamboo farm can only go to the bamboo area of the storage system. That removes the need for sorters, because bamboo should be the only thing that ever ends up in there. But it does increase our requirements for extra item transportation systems, and that could get big and bulky quite fast. So in short, I'm miffed. One unmiffing session later, I've come up with a genius solution of doing a bit of both. So the items from this specific farm are going to go into their specific row of the storage system, and then the drops from the rest of the farms are going to go into a sorted area of the storage system. Reason being, this is the only farm that is going to have drops coming from below the storage system. The rest of them are going to be dropping down from above, just due to the logistics of the situation. And also, this farm probably produces the greatest volume of items, so it makes sense that this has its own specific part of the storage system, so it doesn't have to cycle its way round all of the rest of the storage system before finding its way into a chest. Hopefully that all makes sense. Harvesting kelp has got to be one of the most satisfying Minecraft activities. I mean, look at it all floating upwards. And the reason I need kelp is because I need to convert this water stream into solid water blocks. That is also one of the most satisfying Minecraft activities. Okay, so progress is coming along pretty well. We've got our item elevator, and now we have our little water stream section, which is going to be pushing all of our items over the top of the hoppers. The only thing is that this area here, this needs to be made of honey blocks. And that is because I want all of our items to be straddling between this block and the air block. Well, it's currently an air block, but it's going to be a hopper. I want the items to be going over that edge there, so that they can be picked up by hoppers that are underneath these slabs. Now, if you're wondering why I haven't made these concrete blocks hoppers, is because occasionally items get stuck in the hoppers, they get stuck in the actual model of the hopper, and also when our water stream runs out, I have no way of making the items go into the next water stream, because I need to use ice for that. So that means our storage system would have gaps in it. And nobody likes a gappy storage system. Oh my goodness, I actually have honey blocks. I was 99% certain that I had never touched a honey block. I didn't even have to steal them. Although I probably stole them originally, to be honest with you. Moving swiftly on from my crimes. Oh my word, this is the most frustrating thing to construct I think I've ever done. I have to resist water the entire time. Now, I gotta say, I'm very curious to see how this looks, because it could be potentially horrendously ugly. Let's see. I mean, it kind of goes quite well with the orange concrete. We got a little bit lucky there. It does look very industrial, doesn't it? I mean, I'm struggling to see it over my crown, and if that's not a flex, I don't know what is. So the next part of the process is to build up all of the chests, and that should be very, very simple because we don't even have a sorting system for this part. All I have to do is essentially hold down the right-click button and place all of these things in. And remember, as of Minecraft 1.20, bamboo is probably one of the most useful resources in the game, because it can be used to make incredibly cheap wood blocks. And wood blocks make planks, and planks make things like chests and hoppers and pistons and a whole bunch of other stuff. Sticks. I mean, imagine how many sticks you could have. You could have every stick. You could be the stick king. I mean, look, I've just run out of chests. That won't happen in Minecraft 1.20. Running out of chests will be a thing of the past. And I certainly won't have to do any of this anymore. Walking along this tiny ledge always feels incredibly wrong but also right, although I would not want to do this in VR. I'm already sweating a little bit. So all of our chests are in, all of our hoppers are now in, all of our water streams are now in, our little cactus item destroyer is in, so now the hermit shouldn't hate me. So everything is now all up and running. I kind of expected the flying machines to travel off then. I thought that statement would be a little bit more dramatic, you know, all of the bamboo would start exploding behind me as I flicked it, but instead, just a hopper clock ticked over, which is good, you know, I like that, but it wasn't quite as cool as I hoped. I also kind of hoped that I would be talking long enough that the hopper clock would click over as I was talking, and then all of the bamboo would start exploding, but that still hasn't happened, but it could happen at any second. And yeah, I'm just gonna, oh gosh. You know what, I give up. I don't think it's worth it. I don't think I'm not gonna get it, am I? It's not gonna do it. Of course it now does it while I'm just looking in my chest. I mean, that was like the worst possible time that it could possibly have done it. I couldn't even see what was happening. Right, is everything going in properly? I mean, it looks like all of our bamboo's going up, and that looks excellent. Everything should be aligned up against the edge of the slabs, so all of the items should be making their way into the hopper. It is all functioning properly, which is excellent news. So let's move on to this little thing. You thought I forgot about this little thing? I've actually got the music disc here, so we can...
Pew pew! Yeah, explosions!
I mean, that is... The fact that he took time out of his day to record that just says a lot about Grian. Oh, there's a lot of steps that have to go into that process. Next he has to turn it into a music disc. I mean, I don't even know how you do that. So, we're gonna get him back, and I think I have the perfect way to do it. And the reason that it's perfect is it also includes all of the copper that he placed for the giant sustainable structure that he created. And I really do think this is going to scare him. In fact, this could be a little bit too evil, and I just hope he doesn't panic and actually cause himself to lose all of the copper, because that would be bad, okay? But I want it known right now, if he does panic, and it does cause him to lose all of his copper, it is not my fault. It is entirely his fault, okay? Is that clear? Is that clear? I think it's clear. Okay, so we have the target block. When he shoots the target block, that is going to push this piston and this redstone block out of the way, which will activate a little redstone clock, which is then going to run into a line of droppers, 9 of them to be precise. And those 9 droppers are going to have Grian's copper on the inside, and we're just going to drop them out into a little bit of a chamber. Okay, that's all looking pretty good. Let's get glass on the front. That's kind of important. I want to make sure that he sees all of this, because those droppers are going to be firing all of his copper out into lava. So he's going to watch as all of the copper that he placed in my base, I think it's like 9 stacks of copper, gets dropped out into lava to be destroyed. At least that's what he thinks. Underneath the lava, we're going to put a bunch of hoppers. The hoppers are going to pick up the items before the lava destroys it. So it's purely visual. All of the copper is going to get stored, unless something goes horribly wrong or Grian panics and breaks something. But remember, if that happens, it's his fault. Oh my goodness, it's more than 9 stacks. So the hoppers are gradually making their way in. That makes it sound like the hoppers are placing themselves, doesn't it? Now we just need the final element, which is the lava, and everything should now all be set up and ready to go. Now, as much as this is all fun and games, I genuinely don't want to destroy all of Grian's copper, so I'm just going to quickly clarify that everything is working properly. Let's fill up all of these with grass blocks. I think that's probably a better way to go. So I've got 9 stacks of grass, so hopefully, if this is all working properly, we should end up with 9 stacks of grass in the chest out the back. If we don't, then we'll have to do a bit of a serious rethink. I'm nervous. I don't know why I'm nervous. I mean, I've shot the arrow. Oh my goodness. Why doesn't it work? Oh, an item's fallen in. Okay. Goodness me, that sound is disgusting, isn't it? It definitely seems like they're getting destroyed. I definitely think it was a good idea that we tested this. There's a chance that where the items are moving off of their line, they could be overwhelming the hopper a little bit. I guess this is what experiments are for, you know? Okay, so all of the droppers have fired. Let's see. How many blocks do we have in here? I mean, that's not many. There's also lava. Oh my goodness. Oh, I didn't think this through. Oh gosh, is there anything down there? Okay, half of the items got destroyed. That's not a good ratio. Okay, that couldn't have been more of a fail. Let's go back to the drawing board a little bit. As I say, I think the problem is it's the way that the items were being dropped out, right? Some of them were moving off, and that meant that they were over the wrong hopper, and the hopper couldn't pick up the items in time. So then they got burnt. Now I do just have one potential idea that I want to test out before we do anything drastic. There's a chance that the reason the items were being destroyed was because of inconsistency between the times of the item drops. It was overwhelming the hoppers. So maybe something like this could do the trick. I've just slowed the clock down. Now I've put 4.5 stacks in, and let's see if it works. It did not. So we go back to the drawing board once again, and hopefully this actually works. Otherwise we'll have to throw out the current drawing board and get a new one. So here is the new plan of action. I have 5 segments of lava, each with their individual hoppers, each with their individual chests. 1 stack of grass goes in each, and we activate. This is sounding a lot more promising. It doesn't sound like the items are getting destroyed. But then occasionally they do make a sound as if they're being destroyed. But despite my doubts, it all works properly. The only one that didn't work is this hopper in the center here, and that's because it was being powered by this redstone. So we lost half the items there, but otherwise we are in business. Finally, that was a much larger headache than I was expecting. I guess that could just be the weight of my crown. So after a few more finishing touches, the build is now all complete and filled up with copper blocks. I cannot wait to hear the funny squeaky noises that Grian is going to make when he activates this thing. I'll be making a music disc out of that. Anyway, let's move on to our bamboo farm, which has been producing a rather decent quantity of bamboo while I've been working on that system over there. I think we've done enough redstone for today. I think I want to get the decorations in place because right now this is looking pretty horrendously ugly. Like it genuinely looks like a 2010 Minecraft build at this point in time. I think I built this on Hermitcraft Season 2. So the first port of call is probably to, well, I want to expand out this platform a little bit because it feels a little bit cramped, and then I guess expand this aesthetic around the edges. What do we think to this then? Okay, walls. I think I've just made a big mess. I don't actually know what I'm doing here. I'm kind of following a rough pattern, but it's awful. I kind of did a combination of copying this and copying this, and that meant that all of the distances were just completely incorrect. I think I should just copy what I've got going on over here, to be honest, which I have now done, and I would say that is a good start. Just for the outer border, I would say that's quite nice. Yeah, that looks good. I mean, no complaints. It is floating a little bit. It does feel like it probably should be supported, but equally, I don't know, the whole thing is supported by water. So there's not really much to say on that one. I've now added in the second side, and that looks lovely. This thing's looking super cool. I'm curious how it looks at night. It looks good. It fits in with the rest of the base. Things are coming together. It could do with some light, which I have now added. So now I'm working on the top decoration, just a little bit of something to give us a border on this. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing and whether or not this is going to look good, but it's feeling okay. Currently, I still have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. I'm always so unsure of myself when I'm building new things. It's ridiculous. Okay, let's float on down. I mean, that looks pretty cool. That looks so menacing. It looks so angry, but in a good way. I do think we probably should add some sides onto it, at least a little something to merge it into the industrial builds behind. And is it a little bit jarring? I mean, I guess eventually we are going to have farms behind this thing. So this is not going to just be floating. It's not going to be like a facade like this. There will be lots more just big industrial farms. For example, I think this is going to be a sugarcane farm. Then we're going to have the melon and pumpkin farm. There's going to be all sorts of stuff happening back here. So right now it looks a little bit odd where it's just floating out in the middle of nowhere. But I do think this is good. For now, I'm just going to place a line of blocks on each side to sort of cover up this edge and maybe even place a few blocks like this. I mean, it's only a tiny change, but I definitely think that's integrated the build a little bit better into the structures behind it. And remember, this is just layer number 1. We're going to have a bunch of layers going up gradually in a storage system. So this is just the beginning. But I do think it looks really cool. It looks really impressive, and it looks really visually interesting, which are all of the things that I look for when I'm constructing something. It has presented me with a bit of a question, though, in terms of busyness, and whether or not these lamps that I have going around the edges are now a little bit too much as we're starting to increase the amount of things going on in the center here. For example, getting an unobstructed view of our storage system and all of the farms would be quite nice in this space. Lots of things for my brain to ponder on, but for the time being, I hope you enjoyed this Hermitcraft episode. It's been a lot of fun, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!